We are gonna focus on the Coney dog today, a Detroit iconic dog. I know the Coney dog, it sounds kind of weird coming from Detroit, but it is, they have it in New York, Coney Island, but the Coney dog is famous in Detroit. Every corner has a Coney dog place, brought to you by the Greek immigrants. You're welcome. So the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to start making our Coney sauce. This sauce is unbelievable. It is a chili-based sauce. We make it with ground sirloin, about 80% ground sirloin, and about 20% ground beef heart. I have my pan over the coals on the grill. I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil to get that going, and we're going to start browning our meat like we would with any ground beef chili. So first thing goes in is our ground sirloin. This is 80-20. And then I'm going to put in my ground beef heart, which is also probably about 90-10 fat to meat.
Why do you recommend those ratios? I know some people try and cook with a leaner one.
I'm not a fan of the lean meat. I don't like it. In a hamburger, in a chili, 80-20 is as low as I'm going to go because fat is flavor. So as these hit the pan, Liv, I'm going to hit them with some kosher salt and a little bit of cracked black pepper, kind of right off the rip. And then I'm gonna flatten this meat out and just let it start to brown before I start cutting my vegetables. And we have a nice sizzle there. We're gonna look for some good browning. I'm gonna put a small dice on my bell peppers and on my onions, and then I'm just gonna mince up my garlic.
Is the chili what makes a Coney dog a Coney dog?
Chili is what makes a Coney dog a Coney dog. Sometimes you will see some grated cheddar on there, which is a nice addition, but the classic is chopped onion, squiggle of mustard. So peppers, small dice. Before I finish this onion, I'm gonna give my ground beef a little shake and stir and break it up because I'm cooking with my senses, Liv, so I could smell that it is about ready. Oh, look at this, come here, get in here real quick.
I'm coming.
See, I just flipped it. See that great color we're getting on there?
Oh, wow, look at that. I love the browning.
We just chop it up, let it continue to brown up before we add our veg.
Flavored.
And I chop it with my spoon, but I think a great trick at home when you're making any kind of ground, like bolognese, chili, anything like that, is this style potato masher, and just go in and it really breaks it up good. All right, so ground beef is looking great. I'm gonna add a little bit more olive oil in here just for fat purposes. Finish our onion dice, and then we will be in full chili build mode, Liv. Liv, I know you're not a big meat eater, but are you a hot dog eater?
I am now. I grew up as a very weird child and used to like skinless hot dogs, which is just blasphemous.
Blasphemous.
Listen, I've come a long way.
Okay, so we have our meat browning in that fat. It's looking great. To this, I'm gonna add all my veg. I'm gonna add my onions and peppers, and then I always put that garlic in last. So we're gonna work the onions, the peppers, and the garlic into our meat and fat so they start to sweat and become translucent. And now we're gonna start working on the spices that we are going to add to this. So it's pretty straightforward with the spices. I have about 4 teaspoons of chipotle powder, about 1 teaspoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of cumin, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of clove. Clove tends to be a little bit strong, so go light on the clove. But you will also sometimes find a touch of cinnamon in there because the Greeks often put cinnamon in their chili and ground meat mixtures. So cinnamon is something that you will also find. And some dried Greek oregano, the good stuff. All right, so there is our spices. And they go into the pot. I'm gonna put a little bit more oregano in because Liz isn't here and she won't know what's in there, but I like it to be a little more oregano-y.
And do you add those after the veg so that both the veg and the meat get seasoned?
Yeah, so right? we season it with salt and pepper already. And then now we're coming in after the veg and we're just gonna let the fat and the heat open up those dried spices. You always want to let them go for a hot second to let that kind of happen. So that's what we're doing now. Now a little bit of tomato paste, Tuscan toothpaste, and we are gonna put in about 4 ounces. The tube is 4.5, so I'm gonna put in the whole darn tube, and we're gonna mix this in with the meat and let it get a little bit rusty in color. So that cooks for about a minute or two, so I just kind of move it over to the side, and we're gonna let that start to get a little bit rusty. And then the last things that we have is we have a little bit of flour and some beef stock, because we're gonna make almost like a roux, and then the sauce is just gonna be a little bit meaty, a little bit saucy, classic Coney sauce. I'm getting so excited right now. I can't tell you how many Coney dogs I've eaten in my life.
Where's the best hot dog you've ever had?
Oh my gosh, Liv, that is a loaded question.
It's an intense one.
My favorite hot dog of all time.
It might be today's.
It might be today's. There used to be a place, it's closed now, in Cleveland called Hot Sauce Williams. It was an old school barbecue joint, and they made a Polish boy that I thought was outstanding. There's also a truck in Cleveland called Setti's that does Polish boys that I think is great. So I'm gonna put in my flour, and we're gonna mix that in with the meat. All right, beef stock goes in. This is gonna cook for about an hour on a very low simmer. And I mean, if you look at it right now, it is just, you can see the peppers and the onions and that beautiful tomato hue coming through there and the stock. I mean, this is heaven in a pot right now. All right, it is hot dog time. So we have these corn ribs, look at them, all kind of charred up and delicious. The Coney sauce is ready. Hot dogs are grilled, buns are warm. It is time to get after it. Look at
What?
What? All right, and now it is time to make one of these luscious Coney dogs. Now, you can see that chili is cooked through. You don't have to have the chili. This one's just for pop-up. So it's the bun, the hot dog, that Coney sauce on top, good amount of raw onion, and then yellow mustard. And look at, that's called the Coney dog.
You want one of those?
Noah.
Noah.
Sorry, everybody else with their beautiful hot dogs. The Coney dog is just tough to beat. So now it is time to make Emmy whatever kind of hot dog she wants.
What's your favorite things to put on a hot dog?
You know, pop up to cut up some bacon on it?
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna
I know that you like just a little bit of mayo, right?
I want mustard and ketchup.
Mustard and ketchup? What do you think? Is that an Emmy?
Yeah.
That's the Emmy. So we have the Coney and the Emmy. That is the coolest way to eat a hot dog of all. I'm gonna do mine like that too. All right, Lizzie.
So let's see what we have here.
Snap casing dog.